if Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb is not there at 13, do you think we will trade back in the draft? Great question here. We're getting a lot of wide receiver questions. First off, I do think the 49ers will take a wide receiver in the first round, but I would agree. If Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb are taken at, let's say, 11 and 12 by the Jets and Raiders, then I would go ahead and trade out of number 13, move back just a little bit, maybe into the early 20s, and then take the best receiver available back there. Because here's the deal. If you trade back in this draft, you're going to pick up some day 2 draft picks, which we know the 49ers really, really need. So the question is going to be, if Lamb or Jeudy is there, let's say both of them are there, would you go ahead and take either one of them? The answer is 100% yes. If we're at 13 and Lamb and Jeudy are there, I would take either or. It doesn't really matter to me, whichever one is available. Now, if it's both of them, I would take CeeDee Lamb over Jerry Jeudy. I think CeeDee Lamb's the best overall receiver in this draft. Jerry Judy's great. Nothing wrong with Jerry Jeudy overall, but I would go and take CeeDee Lamb. But if both of them are not there, as Frank is hinting at here at 13, which is a very real possibility, I would go ahead and trade back, see what you can get for number 13 overall, because there are plenty of teams that are going to want to come up and take, Kinlaw, the defensive tackle, or maybe take a linebacker or a corner. There are a lot of teams looking to move up in the late parts of the first round here up to 13, so you could probably get some pretty good draft capital overall in terms of what you can get for number 13. Great question there. See, so again, hashtag 49ers, get your questions in on the show, although I am curious about which wide receiver you guys would rather have. Would you rather have CeeDee Lamb or Henry Ruggs? In the comments right now, type CD for CeeDee Lamb, obviously, or type HR for Henry Ruggs there at number 13. Because remember, Jeudy might be gone. So between these two, which would you guys rather have? I would be typing CD right now, although I don't want to, influence where you guys want to go. But CeeDee Lamb is very, very good. But Ruggs has that 4.27 speed. So, it's apples to apples here. Whatever you guys want, go ahead and comment in the comment section. A lot of people are saying CD right now. A couple of Henry Ruggs, though. Okay, getting interesting. Again, hashtag 49ers, get those questions in as we want. Oh, Frank's got another one. Who would you rather have, Justin Jefferson or Henry Ruggs? I'd rather have Henry Ruggs on the 49ers. Now, Jefferson might be a better overall wide receiver. He tested very, very well at the NFL Combine, ran a 4.43 40, caught 18 touchdown passes and 118 catches from Joe Burrow last year, but I don't think we need him. He's more of a possession receiver. The knock on Justin Jefferson is his explosiveness. So he's not exactly as explosive as a Henry Ruggs. And I think we already have our good possession receiver in Jalen Hurd and Deebo Samuel. So for a 49ers team, I would rather have Henry Ruggs than Justin Jefferson. But again, I'm curious what you guys think about that one overall. So I got the comments rolling on my other screen over here. So again, hashtag 49ers. Tomas asks, great name there, are the top wide receivers in the draft a fit for the 49ers scheme? Which is the most? Okay, so I kind of just hinted at this, but I'll say it again. Lamb or Jeudy will fit on any NFL team. They are the two best receivers in this draft. Lamb from Oklahoma, Jeudy from Alabama. Either of those would be perfect for San Francisco. But as you kind of get away from Lamb and Jeudy, you got Ruggs, you got T. Higgins, Justin Jefferson, Jalen Reagor, Denzel Mims. I would go ahead and take Henry Ruggs out of all of them because of his speed and his vertical pass-catching ability that the 49ers are kind of lacking right now, is they don't really have a big-time deep threat at wide receiver. So, they would all work, right? Like T. Higgins is your big, red zone possession receiver. He'd be fine on the 49ers. Jalen Reagor is more of a slot guy. He'd be fine on the 49ers. But perfect fit, best fit for San Francisco in terms of a wide receiver in the first round has got to be Henry Ruggs based on need, based on that vertical threat. If we're able to run the football, which we will be able to, protect Jimmy Garoppolo, find Kittle and Deebo Samuel and all of them across the middle, and have a very legitimate deep threat like Henry Ruggs, I mean, this offense is going to be unbelievable in 2020. Listen, I cover the 49ers here. We want to be excited about it, but I'm being dead serious. If we can get a legitimate deep threat in the draft who's cheap in the first round, just like Henry Ruggs could be, and you pair that with the offensive weapons we already have, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have a field day taking on opposing defenses. He would absolutely dominate. Great question there, Tomas. I would take Ruggs if, and that's what we're going to say all day long, if Lamb and Jeudy are not there, because Lamb and Jeudy, I think, can become true number one superstars in the National Football League. Okay, keep the questions coming here. Hashtag 49ers knee slapper asks, do you think the 49ers should draft Javon Kinlaw at 13 or a wide receiver? Okay, interesting question here because I do think it should be a wide receiver. But let's say Lamb and Jeudy are both gone and the 49ers don't trade back and they don't want Henry Ruggs. Javon Kinlaw, the defensive tackle, is a very real possibility. Kinlaw comes out of USC, had 6 sacks last year, had 6 tackles for a loss. He had like 18 quarterback pressures. He's the second best defensive tackle behind Auburn's Derrick Brown in the first round, and it's going to go right about between 10 and 20 in terms of his draft prospect. Atlanta at 16 is rumored to be interested. I think San Francisco would do just fine if they went ahead and got him in terms of getting him at number 13 overall. So I like what Javon Kinlaw brings to the table. Again, I would rather have a wide receiver, but at the same time, if we had to go and take a defensive tackle or any defensive lineman, I would go ahead and do Javon Kinlaw. A lot of questions coming in here right now as people are diving in. 49ers super fan, he asked, I think we trade up in the draft to go get Okudah, the cornerback out of Ohio State. No, I do not think that we do, because we just don't really need to trade up for a guy like Okudah. Now, Okudah is the best cornerback in the draft, and we talked about this on a previous video, how he will be gone inside of the top 10. So the second best corner is CJ Henderson out of Florida. I'm fine with him at like 31 overall, but I just don't see cornerback being that big of a need. If we're going to trade up for anybody, the only person I would trade up for would be Chase Young. And we don't need Chase Young, but he's the only player, in my opinion, that could really make a massive difference on the 49ers. Okudah is going to be great. He'd be fine. I would be happy if he fell to number 13, but he's not going to. I would stay put and either take the wide receiver, Lamb or Jeudy, or I would trade back and get a different wide receiver, because right now, wide receiver is really the only big need the 49ers have. I mean, sure, you can make our offensive line, defensive line. The main need of the 49ers after losing Emmanuel Samuel has got to be wide receiver overall. Okay, and obviously here's your depth chart because of it, because you got Samuel, Goodwin, Bourne. I mean, you don't have a lot of great wide receivers left. All right, let's go ahead and move back to some of our comments here using the hashtag 49ers. See what else we got. If we trade back, who should we get in the second or third round? So there are a lot of players you can get in the second or third round. And we obviously have a draft expert here, Tom Downey, who covers the Cowboys. He has a ton of insight in terms of the NFL draft. So if you want to ask some later on questions, ask him. But let's say we want to get a wide receiver in the second or third round. Jalen Reagor out of TCU is going to be there. Denzel Mims is going to be there. Chase Claypool from Notre Dame is going to be there as well. Claypool, a guy that's flying underneath a lot of radars, is going to be picked in about the 50 to 60 range, early on in the second round. Claypool, I think Mims, I think Reagor, I think all three of those guys are going to be there in the second or third round for a wide receiver. Laviska Shenault is kind of the wild card here. He's a first-round wide receiver out of Colorado. He has all the measurables. He's the best run-after-catch wideout in this draft. Problem is he has a core muscle injury right now, so he's not able to kind of run around and show off his skill set on video in terms of like a video pro day that a lot of guys are doing. But the tape says a lot. Played at Colorado, didn't have the best quarterback. The question is going to be if he's there in the second round, teams are going to jump all over him. I don't know if he's going to be there, though. Philadelphia at 21 is a real option. I think Buffalo at number 22, even though they got Stephon Diggs, is an option for him as well. I'll say Reagor, I'll say Mims, I'll say Claypool are all options. Maybe Shenault if he starts to fall. That's only because a little bit of a less production at Colorado because of the quarterback and, of course, the injury as well. Okay, moving on. More questions here in terms of our 49ers live Q&A. I think we should draft a safety. You know, at last Topic Shay mock draft had us taking a cornerback at number 31. I'd rather have Grant Delpit at the safety. Now, do we need a safety after re-signing Jimmy Ward and having Jaquiski Tartt? No, we don't technically need one. But if Delpit was there at 31, then I would. No other safety to me is worth the 31st overall pick. Not even the Alabama one, A.J. McKinney. I wouldn't worry about him either. So with that being said, I'm fine with taking a safety, but we don't necessarily need a safety. Our secondary is great. The only secondary problem that we have right now, and it's not even that big of a problem, is Emmanuel Moseley, our cornerback 2. You see him on the right side of your screen right now. I would argue that he's going to be okay. He played well in the postseason. He started every single postseason game, including the Super Bowl. But let's just say he has a down year, then that'll be the hole in our defense. That'll be the one hole because defensive line is great, linebacker is great, Sherman's side of the field is great, slot is good with K'Waun Williams, Jimmy Ward. I mean, they're all fine. That's the only hole. So if you want to get a corner over safety, and the argument there is like, well, is Emmanuel Moseley going to be good or not? If he's not, which none of us know what he's going to do. He was decent last year after benching Ahkello Witherspoon and starting in his place. I would be fine with a safety, but I don't think any of the safeties are worth a first-round draft pick besides Grant Delpit out of LSU, which we have talked about on this channel as being not as good as some of people are hyping him up to be. Everyone thinks he's Jamal Adams again. He is not Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams was a top 10 pick. Delpit is going to be squeaking into the latter side of the first round at best. Keep that in mind as you're looking at safeties going into the NFL draft. Hashtag 49ers. Get your questions in on the show. We're going to finish up some draft questions here as well. Who do you think is the best run-blocking wide receiver out of the top three? It's a really good question. I mean, CeeDee Lamb actually had a lot of great run-blocking run-blocking blocks at Oklahoma. Jeudy's not as great as a run-blocking wide receiver. T. Higgins is very, very good. He has the size to be able to do so. He's not one of the three best receivers in this draft, in my opinion, though, although, honestly, I think a lot of people from Clemson would go ahead and argue with that overall. I would probably say CeeDee Lamb, but it doesn't really matter. All wide receivers are bad at run blocking. They're not very good overall at run blocking. That's why they are wide receivers. That's why they are not playing, tight end and actually doing blocking. We're fine at running the football, regardless of if we have good run blocking wide receivers or not. Okay, this is just a personal question. It kind of rubs me the wrong way when I see people go to the bathroom and not wash their hands, especially in today's society. You know what's going around, the big C, you know what it is. Type W in the chat if you've washed your hands. If I don't see everybody watching this video type W in the chat, then you need to just go wash your hands. After the live video, of course. Keep watching the live video. Don't touch anything, and then go wash your hands. Type W in the chat right now if you washed your hands. Ronnie's the first one. Mason did as well. Thank you guys very, very much. That way we can all not be stuck in our houses for the next, 8-9 months. We can actually get through this thing and move on. So W in the chat. There you go. Everyone's typing W right now. Very good. Very good. Okay. We're going to keep moving on here as we continue here on the 49ers Report. Live Q&A. If you're just joining us, we're answering your guys' questions and talking about the latest news and rumors as well. Justin asked, at some point in this draft, could we draft a quarterback for Kyle to train? No, because we already have one. His name is Nick Mullins, and he has proven to be one of the better backups in the National Football League. We also have CJ Beathard, although I'd argue Mullins is better. So no point in drafting a quarterback. You have very limited draft picks in this draft, 7 overall, maybe more if you trade back. Get players. I think we're fine at quarterback. I don't expect Jimmy Garoppolo to be going anywhere in the next 5 to 10 years, so no need to draft a quarterback this year. Good question, but I just don't think it's that important in terms of what we need right now. Okay, next question coming up here. Do you think the 49ers will go after a lineman? I've been torn on this one, and we talked about this here on the 49ers Reports, our reported videos that we post here almost daily on the channel. Yes, I do think that they will, especially if they move back and they get some extra picks on day 2. They'll probably go ahead and get one, but they won't take one in the first round. And honestly, it's not necessarily that great of an offensive line draft. It's very top heavy. There'll probably be 2 tackles taken inside the top 10. One's from Georgia, and I'm blanking on the other one. There's another good one out there. But I don't think they're going to be there at 13 for the 49ers. And I think wide receiver is a bigger need. And Joe Staley, who's been the real wild card, like will he retire, will he not? I think he's going to actually be okay in terms of playing this season overall. My roommate Will actually has a Joe Staley jersey that he wears all the time. And he keeps telling me, one of my brand new roommates, he says, Thomas, Joe Staley is not going anywhere. And so if you trust roommate Will, then I don't think he's going to. And plus, Staley has said, listen, I'm not going to retire. I'm signed for the next 2 years. I'm going to be just fine. Derrick Brown. Chris asks, yes, I would love Derrick Brown, the defensive tackle out of Alabama. He's not going to be there at 13. Brown will go inside probably the top 10. I could see Cleveland at number 10 taking him. I could also see Jacksonville, who's taking, where is Jacksonville picking in this draft? I think they have 2 picks. I'm not sure. 8, 9, or 10 makes sense for Derrick Brown. I think the Panthers sitting there at number 7 could make a ton of sense if they don't go quarterback. Like if Teddy Bridgewater is the Panther quarterback of the future, which maybe he is. I don't know. His former college teammate Robbie Anderson or not college teammate, sorry, his former, he's good buddies with Robbie Anderson, just signed there. So maybe 7, but I just don't see Derrick Brown being available at number 13 overall, so I wouldn't even worry about it. Okay, other questions here. We'll keep moving on. We need help at cornerback. Do you think the Niners will take a cornerback like CJ Henderson? Okay, yes, at number 31 overall, possibly, but I don't think we need help at cornerback. I think we could use help at cornerback. I think Emmanuel Mosley is going to be fine, and CJ Henderson, much like the cornerback from Auburn who Mel Kiper mocked to us, his name escaping me right now, Noah, they both aren't that great. Like, they're fine. They're fine cornerbacks. I think in any other draft, they're going to go ahead and be second-round draft picks instead of being mocked to first-round draft picks because of need right now. Look at these stats. 33 tackles for a loss, 1 sack, 11 pass breakups, 0 interceptions. To me, when a corner has 0 interceptions, I know that's not the end-all, be-all playing cornerback, but you couldn't get 1 in the SEC. I know you're playing Tua and you're playing Joe Burrow. I know you're playing good teams overall, but Jake Fromm didn't throw you 1. Jake Fromm threw a lot of bad interceptions last year at Georgia. I don't think we need help at cornerback that bad. Maybe Henderson at 31. I wouldn't hate that draft pick, but I'd rather take somebody else in terms of maybe a wide receiver or trading back or whatever it is overall.